We find ourselves in the 3 weeks and the 9 days, which are supposed to be the most difficult days of the history of the Jewish people, the saddest days, the most complicated days, the darkest days, days of destruction, days of mourning. But at the same time, the month that we are in is called the month of Menachem Av. Menachem Av, the Father. Why is this month called the Father if it's so low? If it's so broken? If it's so dark? Our sages teach us because Atid HaChodesh Hazeh Liyot Av Lechol HaChodashim. This month will be the father of all months. We know Nisan, the time of glory of the Jewish people, the time that made us who we are, a nation for God. Suddenly will pale in front of the month of Av. What is special about Av? First of all, on the 17th of Tammuz, there was the first breach in the wall that surrounded Jerusalem. 3 weeks later, the destruction of the first temple, and then the destruction of the second temple. What lesson do we need to learn? And almost 2,000 years later, what is the lesson for every single one of us? Originally, when God commanded that there should be a temple, He said, "Ve'asu li migdash ve'shachanti betocham." Make for me a migdash. Make for me a sanctuary, a holy place, and I will dwell. It doesn't say I will dwell in it, v'shachanti betocho in Hebrew, but rather it says, v'shachanti betocham, I will dwell in them. Why? Because every single one of us is a temple. Every single one of us has a part of Him which is just like Jerusalem. A house which doesn't receive the light from outside, but rather spreads it from inside to the outside. A house that is made of different parts. It has a menorah. Across from the menorah, it has 12 breads that stay fresh a whole year. And at every holiday, there's a phenomenon, this miracle that happens, that the showbreads, these breads, rise and levitate so everybody can see them before they go back home. Between both of them, retracted a little, is a little altar with spices, 11 spices. 10 of them are absolutely incredibly good to smell. And one of them is bitter, is unpleasant. But if one is missing, the incense cannot be offered. And across from them, just like you see behind me, a curtain. Behind that curtain, you have the ark that contains the 10 commandments. On top of it, 2 angel-faced, baby-faced angels which are made of gold with their wings looking at one another. And whenever God wants to speak to Moshe at the time, or to the Kohen Gadol, to the high priest, his voice comes between the 2 cherubims. How does that relate to you and me? What does that have to do with anything? The answer to this is Yerushalayim. Everyone here, I believe, at least 80 or 90% of you have been in Yerushalayim. As much as you might like Tel Aviv, Herzliya, Ra'anana, Ashdod, Beersheba, there's something in Yerushalayim that there is nowhere else in the world. The verse says, Shalom, Shalom, larachok ve'lakarov, amar Hashem urfativ. God says, I'm going to bring a double portion of peace on the one which is far and the one which is close, and I will heal him. The commentaries ask a question. The one who is close and the one who is far from what? One opinion says, there are people that they journey from a very far place to get to Jerusalem. They have a double portion of peace, a double portion of wholesomeness, shalom, shlemut. The people who are close, they're close. Then another commentary says something else and takes it to a much deeper personal level and says, the one who was far from God, who became close, he gets a double portion of peace. So, is it close to Jerusalem, or is it close to your true self? What is it exactly? The answer lies in the word Jerusalem. The word Yerushalayim in Hebrew, which is Jerusalem, does not appear even once in the whole Chumash, in the whole 5 books of Moses. It appears a countless amount of times in the Tanakh, in the scriptures of the prophets, but in the Chumash it does not. But it's alluded to in one specific place. In Chumash Bereshit, in Genesis, where it says that Avraham Avinu sacrificed his son Yitzchak. And over there God revealed himself. He called the place of God's revelation, Hashem Yira'eh. And that same place is referred to as Shalem. So what is Yerushalayim? It's Yere Shalem. Complete awe, complete respect, complete connection. A wholesome fusion between man and God. So there are 3 dimensions here. The place, Yerushalayim, to experience that fusion. The person in a state of complete alignment. We'll speak about that soon. And then there's the moment. There's certain moments in life where we have an opportunity to connect and to let our Yerushalayim be rebuilt. Unfortunately, for many of us, around our personal Jerusalem, there is a great, great, great fence, a great wall. And at the beginning we think, look, everything is going good for me. I'm handsome, I'm beautiful. I'm attractive, I'm successful. I have the money, I have the charisma. I have the possibilities. I have the grades, I have the friends, I have the popularity. I have nothing to worry about. Why create boundaries? Isn't that what I escaped from my youth? My parents gave me boundaries all day and all night. Sit here, don't sit there, get up, sit down, eat, close your mouth, open your mouth. Why aren't you saying anything? Why are you talking too much? And now I finally got my freedom. You want me to live with boundaries? I just want to have fun. Not only girls just want to have fun. Boys want to have fun too. So, even in a world which is filled with the wrong type of dreams, where everyone is looking for something, I won't say what. One, in order to maintain his personal temple, needs to create certain boundaries. What are boundaries? Boundaries are not negative. Boundaries are actually the extraordinary power of concentration and focus towards a purpose, towards a mission. Taking a potential and not let it be broken by the outside, and often by the look of the others. It is the great Rabbi of Kotsk who said, follow me well, please refrain from speaking and smoking and tighten your seatbelts. He said, if I am I, because you are you, and you are you because I am I, then I am not I, and you are not you. But, I'm sure you all got that part. If I am I because I am I, and you are you because you are you, then ultimately you are you and I am I. Translation, please. If I am I, if my whole existence exists because of some external factor, you, then I'm not me. I'm just a reflection of what I think you want me to be. This is the reality of the whole world. But if I'm going to decide to be myself, because I am just who I am, a crazy little fellow that likes to enjoy life, that likes to say jokes in moments that nobody will laugh at them, or likes to be serious when everybody else wants to waste their time, doesn't matter. This is me. If you love me, good. And if you don't, I'm too focused on my mission to care and give so much investment and emotion in something which is external. I don't stand on a cane or a walker in order to be able to stand straight. I stand on my own, but I stand truthfully. This is the power of a laser. This is the power of boundaries. Unfortunately, at the time of the temple, there were no boundaries. And slowly but surely, that wall which seemed to be so far, this is not the wall of the temple. This is the wall that surrounds Jerusalem. Nothing will happen. One push, another push, another push, another push, a crack, a second crack. Disaster that led 3 weeks later to the unimaginable, the destruction of what you care the most for. This is a story of our life. We all fight between what healthy boundaries are and being free. But what is being free? Is being free just doing whatever you want? Or is being free actually not caring about anyone and doing what you're the best at? And succeeding and excelling at it? And investing yourself in your inner self that nobody else can believe in like you believe in yourself. That nobody else can believe in like God believes in you. When you do that, you're building your temple. You're in a state of harmony, which I call, in the language of martial arts, maybe Setai or Tai Chi or other types of disciplines of the sort, a state of alignment, where there's no dichotomy between what's in my mind, what's in my heart, and what's in my body. There's a statement that I love from our sages. Every statement of our sages contains a tremendous richness, a wealth of information and subtleties which are incredible. Very subtly, our sages use one word, but it means a whole world. It says concerning Abraham, our forefather, Asara nisyonot nitnasa Abraham ve'amad bekulam. Avraham Avinu got tested, challenged 10 times. By the way, he's the father of every Jew. Every Jew will go through 10 challenges in his life, if not more. But we inherited the power to overcome these challenges. But that's not the word that our sages choose when they say that Abraham overcame his challenges. They said, Asara nisyonot nitnasa Abraham ve'amad bekulam. He stood through all the challenges. What are our sages teaching us? You stand through a challenge? Don't you overcome a challenge? Here our sages are telling us, you know what? Before I say the answer, I want you to close your eyes for a second and just be conscious of your body. Be conscious of every part of your body from your head down to your neck, to your shoulders, your chest, your spine, your stomach, your hips, your legs, your calves, your feet, the tip of your fingers, the ground. Feel the way you are positioned. How do you feel? Are you comfortable with yourself? What do you see? Open your eyes. Avraham Avinu, when he went through that test, every time he was hit again and again. Did you ever see a person that's hit? You have a person in a ring and he's fighting and he gets that hook right. And then boom, then another one. And you see the face. You see the whole body is in movement. And at a certain point, the person is broken. I got one blow, I'm broken. And you see it in the way I walk. Sometimes you see people coming into your office, or a friend presents you another friend, and you don't even need them to speak. Their body language is just speaking so loud. In the utter silence, there's a loud voice that expresses so much pain, so much sorrow, so many difficulties, so many challenges. The person seems to feel that they are straight and aligned, but really, behind that great person, that might be a billionaire and the most successful person and the most popular person, there is some type of crushed individual that's really inside not so aligned with his mind, heart, and certainly not with his body. That's why I made this exercise with you, because I want you to be in touch with who you truly are. Your body is speaking the language that sometimes the mind is not able to speak. The Gemara, the Talmud, says in Masechet Brachot, in the Talmud of Brachot, I think it's in page 5, a story of a rabbi. And this rabbi came to visit a friend rabbi. And he told him, I see that you are sick. Do you enjoy being sick? He said, Lo hen velo scharan. I don't enjoy being sick. Okay, I'm going to give you a bracha. I'm going to give you a blessing. He gave him his hand, and it says, Ya'iv leyadeh ve'ukme, gave him his hand and he took him out of his sickness. That same rabbi, I don't know how much later, himself became sick. Another rabbi came to visit him. And he said, do you enjoy being sick? And he answered him the same thing, no, I don't. Ya'iv leyadeh ve'ukme, he gave him a bracha and got him out of his sickness. So the Talmud asks the obvious question. If you have the power to bless, if you have the power to heal, why couldn't you heal yourself? And the Talmud answers, En chavush matir et atzmo mi bet ha'asurim. A person which is bound cannot free himself. But Dr. Ziskin, a great psychologist, asks a greater question, I think. Not a greater question. Another question that's not addressed. What do you think it is? You go visit somebody that's sick. Do you ask him, do you enjoy being sick? That's cynical. It's borderline disgusting. How dare you? Why did you come to visit me to ask me such despicable questions? And therefore, let us ask ourselves, what is the Talmud teaching us? Is this the way to go visit the sick? The Talmud is teaching us an incredible lesson in personal healing and personal growth. We spoke about alignment between the mind, the heart, and the body. Sometimes, most times, sicknesses are psychosomatic. There's something going on inside of me, a guilt, a responsibility I didn't take, a dream that never happened, an expectation of my peers, my parents, or whomever that I did not fulfill, a pressure to be the hero that I cannot be, but I want to be. But this lingering thought is inside a person's mind, and it's there. And he doesn't want to face it. So today, we have so many distractions. It's absolutely incredible. Let me run to YouTube, to Instagram, to TikTok, to whatever, to the casino, to alcohol, to drugs, to all types of things which will give me a sense of self, a sense of being, a sense of, okay, I feel myself, I'm somebody, it's okay. But we don't admit it to ourselves that it's really, all this noise is really to avoid that inner voice. So what happens when you ignore the inner voice? It comes as a reminder in the physical body, a back pain, a neck pain, a stomach ache, a cough. So that was the question. Do you enjoy being sick? In other words, do you enjoy that your body has to remind you to deal with your deeper issues that you're covering up for? No, I don't. Now we could start a process of healing. It's time to go a little deeper than the surface. It's time to let that deeper self express itself. I recently saw a very, very successful man, say that all of these, the answer, not a Jew, all of the answers that he got in his life was from just doing one thing, sitting half an hour in utter silence with nothing around him. He said, at that moment that I silenced my mind, I let my soul speak. The guidance, the answers, the drive, the confidence built itself slowly but surely. Being a temple that stands in front of the enemies, creating boundaries, means that you are allowed. Not only are you allowed, you must take time to have that inner silence, that moment of presence, which we spoke about last time I was here. A moment of presence where you just encounter your beautiful self. It could be your inner child that needs a little more care, that you've been trying to numb with external things when really that inner child just wanted to be expressed through action, through mission, through purpose. So, the temple, what is it? The temple is Yerei Shalem. I want you to be whole. Align your mind, your heart, your soul, and your body. Because if you don't, then the whole temple is going to be broken. In the temple, as we said before, we had the menorah. The menorah was made of one block and was shining a light that lifted up all types of Jews. There were 7 branches. Every Jew, in his spiritual connection, Aaron lit him up and literally connected him to his source. No 2 Jews were alike. It was okay to be one of the branches of the menorah, not the center one or not that one, but just to be yourself. Across from it stood the breads. These breads were very special because they stayed fresh from one week to the other without any preservatives. What happened? When the Jewish people would go to the temple, Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkot, this would be a big high. Imagine that they lived very far from the temple, would come there and see God's presence come down and lift them up. They would be filled with energy, just like when we sometimes are tremendously inspired and feel the hand of God is guiding us. Then there was a special miracle that happened just before they left. The breads would levitate. Why? In order to give them a message. The same way you're fresh and excited now, keep that excitement till we meet again. Now the onus is on you. You have to make the effort to internalize this inspiration and transform it into action. Inspiration, if it's not transformed into action, is a lot of fluff. It's a high that if you're not able to reproduce it in a healthy way, you'll try to reproduce it in a way that could destroy you. The menorah on one side, the spiritual. Opposite to it, the physical. But a beautiful marriage of both. A little retracted from both of them was the altar with the incense. Among these incenses, there was one incense which was actually not so good. But without it, you could not make that service of offering the incense. That not so good incense was the Jew that is a renegade, that wants to abandon his faith. The Jew that's the rebel. He too needs to be part of the mix. in order for something to be pleasant, a father, even when he has a child that's off the path, wants to see him around his Passover table. This illustrates the face. The menorah is the eyes. Opposite to it is the physical, the mouth, the bread. In the middle, our trademark as Jews. Air is free. This is a mix in our face of balance between the physical and the spiritual, and the consciousness, the breath of life, which connects both of them. But then there is something higher, there's something deeper behind the curtains. There's something happening behind the curtains. And it's something very special and very intimate. There's an ark. In that ark, there are the 2 tablets of the 10 Commandments. Just like in our ark, there are the 2 brains. And there are the 2 angels, cherubims. And just like we have the 2 ears, which create that balance in the body. And the voice of God would speak right there, where the pineal gland is. Pineal. Pineal, thank you. So, what happens is that we are a temple. The beginning and the holiest part of our temple is the head. Where the head wants to go, that's where the body follows. If you fill your head with holy things, you aspire to greater things, then your body will be elevated. And that's why we needed to have something which was a little outside of the vicinity of the temple. And that was the altar where we would offer blood and the fats of sacrifices. What is that? That's the heart. The heart is full of passion. On one hand, sometimes we're just like the fat of the animal. We're lazy. We don't move. We don't care. But on the other hand, sometimes we're on fire. And we want to grab everything we can in this world and feel every possible sensation. God says, I want you to sacrifice that. I want you to take that laziness and coldness and use it towards things that are trying to take you off your path. And I want you to use that fire to connect above. And here, our sages are going to teach us something extraordinary. From the moment the temple was destroyed, and that there are no more sacrifices, tfilot bimkom korbanot tiknu. Our prayer, what we do 3 times a day, is actually in lieu, instead of the sacrifices. What happens at the moment that you pray? Our sages use something which is, I find, brilliant. Amit palel tzarich sheyeh enav lemata velibo lemala. We need to create that alignment at the moment of prayer. The person that's praying, what is prayer? Prayer is not asking. Prayer is a moment of fusion to your inner self, connecting to the source of the whole universe. And just like you see above me, all the letters that God created the whole universe, which are the life force of everything in the universe and the spiritual realms, connecting to that, and this being a channel to draw it down. But in order to do that, our sages say, you have to be able to have your eyes looking down, but your heart going up. It's counterintuitive. Naturally, the heart is attracted by physical, material things and wants to just enjoy and feel. The moment of prayer is a moment where I take my fire and I bring it a higher purpose. It's the moment that my brain that normally wants to escape to higher realms has to be grounded. This is the alignment. This is what it means to build your Yerushalayim. This is what it means that Dafka, during the moment of the destruction, when the rabbis were walking with Rabbi Akiva, and they saw the remains of the second temple, and there was a wolf coming out of the Kodesh HaKodashim, the Holy of Holies, where only the high priest was allowed to be on Yom Kippur. The sages were crying. Rabbi Akiva was smiling. He was laughing. They looked at him and they said, "Why are you laughing?" And he answered, "Why are you crying?" "We're crying. What are we crying? What are you talking about? Look what's happening. Destruction. The holiest thing has been destroyed." To this he said, "This is why I'm laughing, this is why I'm smiling." Again, something wondrous. Why are you smiling? He says, "I'm smiling because till now, I knew there was a prophecy that the third temple would be eternal. But till the first and second temple were destroyed, that third prophecy of eternity would never be able to happen. Now that the destruction has happened, I know that eternity will happen as well. And that third prophecy about the temple will happen." The lesson for us is that sometimes you're broken. Things didn't go your way. You failed. It could have been a relationship. It could have been a job. It could have been feeling that you failed yourself. But at that moment, something extraordinary happened. You started with that breaking, building your higher self, your newer self. So really, the moment of failure is a moment of joy. It's a moment where suddenly I have so much emotional clarity that I never want to go back to that path, that now my path is much clearer than it ever was. You have people that live a great life, successful life, and everything is just peachy. And one day you hear in the news, "I can't believe this guy committed suicide." How is that possible? They never had the privilege of failing and getting up. Everything just happened. Celebrate your failures. Celebrate your shortcomings because they're not failures. They're actually the step that's going to push you to your true self. So in this period where we mourn the destruction of the temple, on this month it says, "Ata tieh av lechol hachodashim." You will be the father of all months. Dafka, where we are broken and we're able to get up, that's the real power. I'd like to conclude with a story. Imagine for a second a family in a forest in the medieval times, living in a house which is a shack, and there's a terrible, terrible type of almost Florida hurricane. And it's starting to break the roof. The water's coming in, and they're trying to do this, trying to do that, and trying to fix this, and trying to dig here, do this, do that. Next thing you know, it's too late. Everything has crumbled down. At that moment, a very wealthy, prominent person comes with a big, big bag with gold coins that will give them the possibility to build themselves a palace and live forever with absolutely no financial worries. Beautiful story. Sounds like a legend. They built their palace. They lived their life with a great wealth. What happens when they drive by the old shack. They tried to avoid it. This place was a place of no luck. This is the place we want to stay away from. Today we are greater people. Let's imagine the same story, but this time, instead of some external factor coming to give them this treasure, as they're toiling to try to fix the house and rebuild the house, they find the treasure in the earth, deep in the earth, under the house. And now they build their palace. How do they react when they pass by that house? Ah, this is the source of our glory today. God can save you. Miracles can happen. But they don't make a person change. The Geulah Mashiach could have come many years ago already. Kabbalists and great tzaddikim could have brought Mashiach and rebuilt the temple. But the purpose wasn't that it should just be a gift from heaven. The purpose was that we should feel a part of it. So whenever we have difficulties, whenever we encounter challenges, this is a time to say to ourselves, wow, when I get through this, I'm going to be able to celebrate and say that I got through this. Nobody got me out of this. And with that strength, nobody will ever, ever, ever make me broken or block me from my success. The biggest success, the building of our temple, starts by aligning your head, your heart, your soul, and your body. Take the time to do it. Take the time during these days to sit down and mourn a little over the old self, but rejoice on the greater person you really deserve to become. Good night. God bless you.